there's signs of life here. I know they're 8-8. I know everybody's disappointed that it's still a pretty slow start, but there's signs that things are going well, and I don't want to make excuses for them, but they've caused some bad luck, especially Harper. In terms of hard hit balls, just being right at people, that kind of thing.
You saw his frustration when he went into the dugout.
Oh, yeah.
I think he let out a rather large F-bomb and threw his helmet down and spiked the bat.
Yeah.
They asked him about it after the game. He's like, I thought I was going to get a hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was hitting the ball 110 miles an hour, I would expect some hits too.
Yes. I don't know. He's like 3 push-ups away from... from really just an MVP season. But
I know. Well, going back to the bullpen really quickly, just to hit on something that I loved reading, that the bullpen after the series against Atlanta has bounced back. And we had talked about that on Friday as well, of, the way that they were, although very frustratingly performances in the first series, you could see the progression rounding out, of course, with the return of Orion that made it even that much more exciting. But you saw Jose Alvarado coming in after Saturday, hadn't allowed an earned run since giving up 5 against the Braves opening day. Strom had 12 strikeouts in 7 2/3 innings. Soto had only allowed 1 earned run through 7 outings. Junior Marte, another positive that we had talked about, who had began the year with 6 straight scoreless appearances before losing his command on Friday. You see the bullpen, they had been making those steady improvements since that opening weekend. And that is a positive because when you add Orion Kirkring back in the mix, it was great to see him back out there. Those are the types of things, the small victories that we can take away from even this split series. But for Bryce Harper in that moment, listen, we understand. The cameras are going to be on you. They're going to follow. They know what's coming. Bryce very frustrated, hasn't been able to give the at-bats. Obviously, he had that 3-homer game last week. But other than that, has really struggled. The numbers that you see, not good at all that Bryce has been performing. And so to be 2-16 in this 4-game series, I know Rob was saying, he's trying to do too much. And he's like overthinking things. He's overswinging a little bit. His contact point isn't exactly where he usually has it. He's got to play through it. And I think letting out some of that frustration is that. It's your way of like, I'm not happy with this. I'm letting this out and I'm moving forward because I know I'm going to get back.
Yeah, I mean, so baseball's just such a weird game where you can do everything right. And I don't know if Bryce has too many problems with his swing. Somebody asked me to look up his batting average on balls in play over the weekend, and going into I think Saturday's game, it was 200, which tells you it's some bad luck. And just like time after time, you see these balls at the warning track. You look at the exit velocity.
The double plays.
Double plays.
I feel like that's a word we have to like ban from the show. Double plays.
Well, there are 2 teams with more double plays than the Phillies.
Are there really?
I think it's the Yankees, and I just saw it not long ago. I'll find that. All right, so Tyler, you have some of the advanced numbers here on Bryce Harper's unfortunate luck, I guess, with his batting average. Why don't you just
killing
read
my
these,
fantasy team
because I will stumble all over that.
So I think you guys are playing into the fact that Harper's probably really, really close, and the kind of the expected numbers play into that a little bit. He's in the 73rd percentile in expected slugging. He's in the 74th percentile in average exit velocities, in the 76th percentile in hard hit percentages. And his average on fastballs this year, he's seen about 130 fastballs this season so far, is 73 points lower than his expected average. His average is 222. His expected average is 295, which means he has run into some hard luck. And, hitting the ball hard on the ground into double plays doesn't give me a lot of like, oh my gosh, he's right there. But when you do have an exit velocity that's in the 76th percentile, or a 74th percentile, and your hard hit percentage in the 76th percentile, it says that you are on the ball. You're just running into some unfortunate luck.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Brandon Marsh, but we can't all be Brandon Marsh, right? No. I mean, that would just be unfair to hold him to that standard.
He just wants to get a hit, guys. As Bryce is saying, he's frustrated. He just wants to get a hit. He's like, I'm pretty emotional with what I do. I think whenever you get a ball like that, you're always going to be emotional and frustrated. And when you see the plays that he has, it's like, oh, Bryce. My fantasy team is dragging because of this.
I've lost 2 in a row. We're not.
Is he not even
fantasy
thinking
baseball.
about your fantasy
team? I only lost 1. How
it's
selfish
almost
of him.
like Bryce doesn't.
My team is literally named
team.
Bryce Betts are washed. My 2 guys are Bryce and Mookie Betts. Mookie's doing his part. Bryce
got to step up. But it really does seem like, sometimes those advanced numbers, I'm old, so I don't always buy them. But when they line up exactly with the eye test and what you're seeing, you're like, all right, I'm not going to worry about Bryce Harper.